David, just on reflection, first of all, looking back on last week, what were the positives that you took out of that performance?
I thought the second half was, when I say positive, it ended up sort of 6 apiece. I think in the game as well, the positives were, 7 line breaks apiece. So we certainly, as a team, it's about growth. It's about learning off those games there, and we certainly have. But it's about putting those into place for this week.
How much better will you need to be to get something from Wigan?
I think it's just about individual performances. It's about the connections. Again, just working hard with connections in our halves and our nines. But I think the main point out of last week was just building that pressure where being able to get to end of your sets there, last plays, get your kicks. If we get an opportunity on the try line there, just again rolling the ball in, getting some more sets that we can show the way that we can play.
It'll be the first time you've asked your players for a reaction, for a response. What signs have you seen during the week, encouraging signs that will come?
I think the players, the players have been working hard at those areas. They understand where they, as an individual and as a team, where they could have been better. That was a good response, and I think sometimes there with a short turnaround there, as a player and as a coach, you want to jump straight back into the game, and I've got that real good sense there that I know the players are very disappointed. Obviously the bus trip back was fairly quiet, but as I spoke to them, it's round one, and we're in certain positions there we're new, and we need to work hard to get those connections.
You've got the potential to put the same side out this week. Do you envisage any changes?
Not at the moment. I think we need to have a look at the best out of the squad, the best team there that starts, and then obviously on the bench there as well. So a little bit different Wigan than Warrington, but we've certainly looked at areas there where we can that we can put some pressure on. But I've also then reflected and sort of talked about that the team, individually and as in the Leeds Rhinos, we need to become better.
What do you think you'll get from Wigan?
Look, they're a grand final winning team there from last year. Obviously got a lot of experience, but there's no doubt we know what we're going to get from Wigan. But it's just about what we, as Leeds Rhinos, need to put against Wigan. So it's about us, and I've made that point fairly clear to the players.
It's their first home game, though. Do you have to factor in the emotion that will come with that as well?
That's out of our control. I think it's just about what we can control, and we saw that last week there where we need to be better in certain areas. So that's part of the control. So as in emotions there from the opposition team, that's something we can't control. But we can only take our attitude and what we need to do to Wigan.
It'll be your first return back there as well. How do you look back on your time with Wigan?
Oh, look, I've really enjoyed it. It was a good, a good 2 years there, and I think the 4 years I had the privilege to play in the Super League competition, I really enjoyed. So I think it's more for my focus there as a coach there is taking the Leeds Rhinos to Wigan.
In terms of selection, you were talking about the bench and the changes or the reduction in substitutions. Are you, as coaches, are you looking at how other teams are handling their benches in this first round?
No, I just looked at, looking at our best 17 and then having a look at the rotation on the bench there where they complement each other and bring energy to the team. So that's how I look at it, and that's what I focused on.
One of our coaches said it makes it a little bit easier having the 8 changes. Did you find that at all?
I think we had one one interchange up our sleeve from last week. So again, it's about the team you've got, starting, how many minutes. It's about that connection there, or matching the players there that start, and then who replaces who. So I've been used to the interchange there or the 8 interchange there for a while. So again, it's about putting energy into the team there for 80 minutes.
And Jamie Jones Buchanan's missed out again this week with that chest infection. Will he be okay? Because you do have to play next week as well, don't you?
Yeah, well, that's right. He still is not back to full training, so until he's in that sort of situation there, he hasn't been considered for last week and hasn't been considered for this week.
And the World Club Challenge for Wigan is coming up. Does that change this game in any way for them or for you in terms of how you approach it, how they might approach it?
No, it's got it's for Wigan to work out, not us. I think it's Friday night, and it's about Leeds Rhinos improving from last week.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Steve, you played with Adrian Lamb obviously at Wigan. Have you kept up in touch with him over the years?
I think in rugby league we just sort of run into each other. Since I've been back, we've had 2 functions there. One was meeting up with the referees, and I spoke to him there, and then the other one was the launch. So I think he'd be the same, but you're just so busy on getting things right or working as a coach. So haven't had the chance to sort of on a social point, but no.
You mentioned in the build-up last week how much you're looking forward to seeing Stevie Ward fully fit, having a go. How impressed were you with his performance last week?
Oh, he was good, very good in the middle. He have an award. We have an award each week after, and it's the coaching staff there that picked that, and Stevie got our vote there last week. So that probably exercises on how well we thought he went.
Conrad Hurrell had his knee struck for most of the game after the tackle involving Ben Westwood. How's he and how is he preparing for Wigan?
Yeah, look, he's right. I think that obviously that sort of tackle there had been dealt with. So Connie, fortunate enough, was a little bit sore after the game, but he's on a shorter turnaround. He's ready to go and has no problems.
Are you expecting all of the new players in particular to be better, having had that 8 minutes under their belt last week now going into Wigan?
Oh, I think so. And we've from day one there, we've been working on, as I talk about, those combinations and those connections. So you can do so much at training, but then obviously in a game situation there, a little bit more live, a bit more pressure, playing for points. It can change a little bit, but I think the hit out there for certain players there, in particular the new players, I think it was a very good experience for them. I naturally thought that they may have been a little bit nervous, which is understandable, but they're certainly looking forward to, and on that shorter turnaround, to play again.
You brought Nate Pettigrew into the squad and Harry Newman. Harry Newman in particular, you watched him against Featherstone last week. He's not a young man that lacks confidence. Is he settling well into the first team environment?
Yeah, very good. The enthusiastic approach every training session. He's very confident in his ability. So we did have, obviously with Connie, just how he pulled through, but it was fine. So whether Harry plays tomorrow, we'll see.
You mentioned there about Connie's injury. Ben Westwood received a suspension. Do you think that should have been dealt a bit more on the pitch on the day in terms of it was 7 minutes into the game?
Oh, I suppose you go through a lot of emotions there on the actions, but I think it's been dealt with, and you can't change that. Whatever the action was at the time, obviously we received a penalty, so we can't change that. the only thing, as I mentioned before, that it's been dealt with, and we just move forward.